Give yourself a second here before we take some sun salutations to ground into your mat. So allowing yourself to maybe create an intention that brings equanimity and balance into your practice, your physical practice on the mat, but also equanimity, balance off your mat. So it could be an I am statement, or maybe a word that allows you to feel more balanced in your physical and spiritual body. When you're ready, let's rise up towards a downward facing dog, knowing that you can take tabletop instead this entire time instead of downward facing. Maybe you want to bend one knee at a time, or even shake your head yes and no a couple times. Take your gaze forward and start to walk all the way up to meet your hands. Halfway lift, inhale, maybe hands towards the shins or the quads, and exhale, come back down. 2 more times, lift halfway, inhale, exhale, forward fold. Last time, halfway lift, inhale, exhale, forward fold, drop the hands down. As slow as you possibly can, lift all the way up towards a standing position and arrive in your mountain pose. Hands alongside your side body. We'll come back to Pranam Mudra now. Hands in prayer position, continue to plug your thumbs into your sternum. Connecting with your breath. And just notice your energy right now. We'll kind of test things out as we move along, just checking in along the way with how our energy might shift throughout this class. Your inhale, lift your hands up. Exhale, forward fold, release. Halfway lift, inhale, step back, high plank pose. So moving into more of that sympathetic state, more of that charged up part of your central nervous system. We'll take a couple rounds of sun salutation. Know that you can skip the push-ups if you'd like and press back to downward facing dog. Otherwise, lower down for your low push-up. Inhale either cobra or upward facing dog to lift the quads. Downward facing dog, press back. We'll all meet here for the next 2 to 3 breaths, either staying in stillness or again, maybe you want to bend your knees a couple times, move your head around a bit. Getting more deeply acquainted with your posture. On your next breath, walk your hands towards the back of your mat. Just changing it up a bit. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up, arms high. And arrive hands next toward your side body, mountain pose. Again, Pranam Mudra is where we meet, hands towards heart center. Plug the thumbs back towards the sternum. Check in with yourself while you're here. Breathe deep in and out through your nose. Sun salutation once again. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. This time, walk out towards your plank pose. Again, maybe you skip your chaturanga up dog. We're moving to meet towards downward facing dog. If you're moving with me, shift towards upward facing or cobra. And press back downward facing dog. We'll come back now towards the top of the mat, gaze forward, maybe step or even jump up towards the top. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, forward fold, release. Inhale, rise up, arms high. And again, arrive, exhale, hands towards your side body. Pranam Mudra from here. We'll start to now change up our flow. Continuing to check in each pose that you come into, noticing your energy, whether you feel stable, whether you're aware of where you're at. Keep your hands towards Pranam Mudra. Step that left leg back for a high crescent lunge. Option to keep those hands at the heart center or reach your arms up. Continue to press powerfully into each palm, finding balance even in this hand shape. On your next breath, sweep your arms back for a jet airplane arm position. We'll be a bit more playful with the arms today. So in jet airplane arms, feeling almost like you're hugging a beach ball behind your back, activating the triceps. And start to swing that left arm forward towards the front of your mat, almost like you're trying to shake somebody's invisible hand. From here, move towards warrior two. Start to spiral the arms open towards T-shaped arms. Continue to steady your gaze, to steady your body. Breathe soft. Even finding that balance here, that equanimity, to press powerfully into each foot. Reverse your warrior, reach back. Right arm goes bicep by your ear. Get soft into that left hand. Front knee is still bent, depends on how deep you want to bend it. Then on your exhale, cartwheel those hands down. Again, being more playful with the arm transition today. Left hand down, right arm up, twist. Knowing that you can always drop that back knee down if that's your preference. One more breath to lift. Exhale, drop both hands down. Step back, downward facing dog. Option to stay here, or again, shift forward, chaturanga lower. Up dog, inhale, and downward facing dog, exhale. We'll continue to move on the right side of our body. Lift the right leg up, bend your knee, open your hip. And know that you can do this in tabletop instead. We're really just looking to find an open hip position rather than squared off hip. Let's meet to find warrior one. Step that right foot forward. Back foot's about 45 degrees. You can also do this with your knee dropped if you'd like. Inhale, reach your arms up. Again, back towards Pranam Mudra, either hands towards heart center, or you can keep your arms lifted. Very similar transition to what we took earlier. Sweep the arms back. We're moving to find a balancing posture. So start to feel that right glute turn on. Lift your left leg up, warrior three. Last breath here. Mountain pose arrive. Left leg meets the right. Give yourself a second here to find balance. So we'll stay in this mountain pose position for just a couple breaths. Maybe you want to grab a sip of water while you're here, since we're still moving into more of the activation of your muscles. And just notice the right side body, since we have moved into it a lot more than the left side. And we'll again find balance between the left and the right before we switch the pose out. Softly breathe. We're back towards Pranam Mudra, hands towards heart center. Let's start to shift towards the other side now. Step that right leg back towards your high crescent lunge. Again, hands can stay towards heart center and maybe you reach them high overhead. We're moving towards the same shapes, but again, take note of how your body might be responding differently each time that we move in. Sweep the arms back for jet airplane arms. Be mindful of how you're taking these transitions. Move slow and deliberately. Reach the right arm forward like you're shaking somebody's hand. On your next breath, warrior two, open up the hips. Left knee is bent. Reverse your warrior, reach back, left arm bicep by your ear. That right hand is soft towards the back, so we're not just placing a lot of pressure onto the right leg. Using more of the upper body to stabilize. Cartwheel those hands down, frame that top foot out. We'll add on a twist now. Right arm stays down, left arm reaches up. Great place to also drop the back knee. One more breath here. Exhale, release the top arm down. Take your time to step back towards your downward facing dog. Option to stay here or add on another chaturanga, low push-up. Inhale, lift your chest, upward facing dog. And downward facing dog is where we meet, or tabletop. To get back towards the top of the mat, reach the left leg up, bend the knee, open the hip. And step forward to find warrior one. Again, that back foot's about 45 degrees, more facing towards the 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock position. Stance is wide so you can find stability into the hips. Then arms can either be hands towards heart center for Pranam Mudra or arms up. One more breath here. Your exhale, reach those arms back, getting ready to transition towards a balance pose, and we'll complete really the equanimity on each side of your body, and we'll come down towards the mat. Let's move to find warrior three, this last active pose standing. And release towards your mountain pose, right leg meets the left. To get back down towards the ground, inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Step back towards your high plank position. Lower all the way down onto the belly, and we'll move towards Sphinx Pose. So now that we're starting to move towards more restorative positions, we'll balance what we just did out, moving now more towards the parasympathetic, more that rest and digest, longer holds, getting deeper into the muscles rather than activating the muscles. We'll stretch them out. So in Sphinx, really plugging the forearms down into the mat. Maybe you gaze directly forward, or you can move into your neck a bit just by looking down, then moving your head side to side. You can either stay in Sphinx Pose, or if you want to add on, draw that left arm all the way out, so left forearm is down. And we're moving towards that left side body using your right foot as a kickstand. So again, if you wanted to do it on the wall, you can, by taking the left forearm towards the wall. But essentially, this is what it should look like on the ground, where we're really getting deep into our left pec. Let's switch sides. Now, right forearm reaches out. Take that left foot like a kickstand, roll over onto your right side body. And come back towards the center of your mat. Lift up towards a cobra pose or back towards Sphinx. Lower down. Press back child's pose. Continuing to slow this practice down. We'll take some seated stretches. Lift up towards a comfortable seat. Maybe you want to grab a strap or a towel for these next couple stretches. So we'll be taking a grounded tree pose, otherwise known as Janu Shavasana, where the right knee is bent and right foot's towards your inner thigh. And I'm wearing my Buddha, like more like MC Hammer pants, so it's kind of hard to see. But the right foot is into the inner thigh line. Then you can take the strap or the towel, place the strap around the ball of the foot, and then start to forward fold over. So even if you don't have a towel or whatever, you can just allow your upper body to fold over. Doesn't matter where your hands go. We're not trying to force the pose. We'll be here for about a couple breaths. Poses that require both sides really does help us acknowledge the shift in energy on each sides of our body. So continue to breathe exactly where you're at. Lift all the way back up and switch out your legs. So nothing in between, just switching sides now. Left foot into your inner thigh line. Again, you could use the strap or your hands to come into your fold. And know that if you'd like a slight bend at that right knee, that might feel more accessible today. Knowing that it doesn't have to be completely straight. We're really just looking to stretch out the hamstrings and get into your lower back with this fold. Start to lift all the way back up. We'll meet towards a butterfly pose, feet together, knees wide. Continuing to open up the hips. Know that you can stay upright into your spine this entire time, or maybe you want to fold over your feet. Might even feel nice to take a block underneath the lower tailbone to help elevate the hips. We're not here that much longer. We'll find a couple more postures just to help balance the physical body. And each pose really leads into the next. Each creating more of this balancing nature where one pose might be a counter pose to the pose that we just took. Start to lift your upper body if you had yourself in a fold. And then draw your knees together, lower all the way down onto your back. We'll take a very brief back bend of bridge pose. Feet are down, knees up. You can use a block underneath your tailbone to help elevate the hips, or ground your feet into the mat, lift your hips up off of the floor. So we're not here for very long, just about 2 more breaths. And on your exhale, lower your hips back down towards the floor, knees towards your chest, give yourself a big hug. And we'll end with a twist on each side. So I'll move into a supine twist, sending the left leg long, right knee stays hugged in. Know that you can keep that left knee bent if that feels better on your back. And start to move that right leg over the left for your supine twist. And just take note that your shoulders are into the mat below. Gaze can either be up towards the ceiling or even gaze away from your bent knees. Might also feel really nice on your back to place a block underneath your bent knee, or if you have a book or even a pillow underneath your bent knee for support. Let's start to move back towards the center. Squeeze both knees back in towards the chest. We'll balance out the other side now. Send the right leg long. Maybe that right knee stays bent to protect the lower back. And start to draw your left knee across the body. Same options as before if you wanted to take a block underneath that bent knee for support. Just like we've been curiously tuning into this entire class, inviting in awareness and how our body might shift from one side to the other, and continuing to give ourselves the time and the rest and even the activation to move in more deeply aware to physically, mentally, and spiritually connect. Last breath here. Draw your knees back in toward your chest. Give yourself another big squeeze. Maybe round your nose up to meet your knees. And we'll meet into a Shavasana, a very brief Shavasana. It's allowing yourself to find equanimity here in a final resting pose, to breathe softly in and out. Maybe you invite in a body scan to acknowledge any of the energetic shifts through one side of the body versus the other. Continuing to invite in kindness to your own experience. Creating unity and into our physical body within this final resting pose. Breathe soft, become aware. And maybe you bring further insight into the mantra or the word of your choice that allowed you to feel more balanced. So you can draw that in back into your mind's eye to close out this practice today. We'll close out this practice with one big inhale in through your nose and exhale, sigh out through your mouth.